with Kimberly and Nika were cute while it lasted, like for the thing. Oh, and Leighton was like, hot guys don't journal, these thoughts just fade away, that's what makes them hot. Interesting, because it's like, that's a difficult decision that you have to make, and you're 18 just turning 19. No, there's just, I don't know, because it was giving Aria Ezra, but that was when the student is 15. Do you see what I mean? It's just Kimberly Finkel. I just love it. Created by Mindy Kaling, and if you tell me Mindy Kaling did something, I'm gonna be there.
And it goes a little something like,
Hi guys, welcome to my review lifestyle and academia channel. My name is Agape, like the love. If you're new here, welcome. This is a safe space, but if you're not, thank you for clicking on one of my videos again. That means a lot. As you guys can tell by the title, I'm going to be reviewing a new show called The 6 Lives of College Girls. The finale came out last week, and I was like, you know what, I just have to talk about this. I haven't done a show review in a while. The last time I did one was for the Gossip Girl reboot, but that wasn't really a review because I was just talking about how bad I thought the show was. But before then I did a Gilmore Girls one, and that video still gets people commenting on it till this day, and it's one of my favorite videos because of how interactive the comment section was. So that's like a message to you, don't be afraid to comment and like tell me all about it. So I'm going to be talking about The 6 Lives of College Girls, but before I get into it, if you want to like, comment, subscribe, maybe comment if you've watched the show, tell me who your favorite character is and maybe your favorite moment from the show. So yeah, let's get into the video. Okay, so the show that I'm going to be talking about is called The 6 Lives of College Girls. It is on HBO or HBO Max. And it is a show basically following these 4 different characters, Bela, Leighton, or Leighton, I think that's how you say it in American, Leighton, I think so, yeah. Bela, Leighton, Whitney, and Kimberly, and there are these 4 college girls that share like a dorm, or like share like a room together at this university called the University of Essex, and I think it's on the east coast. And there are they're like the most random different characters put together, and it's about like their college experience. I was about to say high school, but it's called College Girls, about their college experience. And so this show is created by Mindy Kaling, and if you tell me Mindy Kaling did something, I'm gonna be there. Like, I think she's like, I want to say she's a genius, but the way she writes and the way she formulates characters is so brilliant. So how I'm going to go about this is I'm going to focus on all 4 of the main characters, and then also like the side plots and side characters and things like that, and then also like their love interest, the college experience, the representation within the show, the writing, and what I want to see in season 2. And hopefully I'll put time lapse on each of those things so you guys can follow through if you don't watch all of it, and you can just click on the bits that interest you, but it would be nice if you watched it all, but no shade if you don't. So yeah, let's get into the show. The first thing that I want us to talk about are the 4 characters, right? And what I love about the show, I'm already singing its praises, right? But what I love about the show is that they're all likable. Even Leighton, who you would think she's like the mean girl, they're all likable. And I think that's what is so refreshing about the show, is that like you want to root for all 4 of them. You want to root for their friendship, you want to root for them finding themselves, or discovering who they love and stuff like that. Like, you want to root for them because at the bottom of it, like, you can see a lot of their heart in the show. There's so many different moments in the show where you're like, whoa, like, I'm rooting for you in this situation or in that situation or in that situation. Like, they're just wholesome characters, and then you can see that they're so fully fleshed out. Even though it's only been 10 episodes, I feel like I know them so much, whereas when you watch other shows where it revolves around college students or high school students, Gossip Girl, Euphoria, but like sometimes you'll watch a show and you feel like, I still don't know who that person is, like I'm not getting it, and with it be, maybe it's because of like humor, I feel like you can really get to know somebody with the way in which they conduct themselves and like the jokes that they tell. I think the show was so spot on with how they did it. So yeah, that's something that I want to like say. And also, before I talk about each person individually, I like the fact that they all have their own little like group of friends, even though they're friends because they live in the same dorm. Each of them have their own little like group, and I think it's so realistic to college. Because like you'll have your friends who you live with, but then you'll have your friends who are on your course with you, or who do the same sport as you, or who do like, and it's so realistic. Like I felt like, yeah, this would happen. Like you'll have your group, or if there's a black girl in the group, she'll have her friends who are like her black friends, and that's just like, that's just normal, you know. And I love that they weren't shying away from doing that. Like everyone had their own intersection, little like group, whether it was Bela who's a comedian and she'll have her friends who are in the kaling. So I love that. So that was just something that I wanted to take note of. But okay, so the 4 characters, oh my word, we have Miss Kimberly Finkel. I think with Kimberly we've been taken on like an emotional roller coaster with her character. Like emotional, it just went all over the place, but I felt like where there's mess, I can relate to it. I can feel like I'm going through it with her. She's just a girl that's trying. So Kimberly bad hair Finkel, she has this little bob. I'll try to insert a picture of her. Kimberly comes from, like, you can tell that she comes from like this very small town. She's super like sheltered and stuff. We know that by when she meets chéyenne, and she's like, oh, like you're my first like black friend, or should I call it African American. I thought that line was so hilarious because she was trying to be like politically correct. She didn't want to offend him, but she was just like doing too much, you know. But with Kimberly's character, we can see someone who is this person who comes from like a small town, and they're coming into university, they're coming into college. Sorry, I say university because I live in the UK, but they're coming into college, and they just, it's overwhelming, and they don't know where to begin, and their public school education didn't prepare them for what college was going to be, whether it be classes that she was going to take. So Kimberly takes French, right? And like compared to, I think this is the 2nd episode or the 3rd episode in, compared to all of the other students who went on like gap years abroad, or who were au pairs in a French country, or who did a French summer camp with an ambassador, like really like elaborate things, whereas Kimberly just worked in the summer to make money for university, right? So she comes in already feeling like an underdog, not only in her like environment with the people that she's living with, but also at university. And I think Kimberly's character, I relate to her so much because she's just a little bit lost, you know. Like she comes into university just being a bit lost, but we can see that she has a kind heart, whether it be how she reacts to Leighton when Leighton comes out to her. She's just someone who cares. She's always someone who checks up on people and stuff like that, and we can see in her heart that she's like a good, kind person, which I love about her. She's had so many random moments, whether it be when she's when she meets Whitney's mom and she's wearing like a dashiki, and we're like, Kimberly, why but it's just like you love her, you know. Whether it be Kimberly and her love interest, this is very interesting, right? Because Kimberly scoring Nico, I was so proud of her. I was like, come on sister, exactly right, as you should. But first of all, I feel like, you know, when she got into trouble for not submitting her assignment, why couldn't she just submit it in before she went to the party? Like, I don't get that. Like, that's only one thing I'm like, why didn't you just do that? But anyway, Kimberly and Nico, where do we begin? Oh my word. I like the fact that she scored someone who, like, to her felt like she was out of her league, because almost to remind her, like, Kimberly, now you are that girl. And also Kimberly's personality is like one of my favorites, because she's so like, I don't even know how to describe it, she's just so, where are the words, like, she's so, I don't know. And so Kimberly and Nico, obviously at the end we get the fact that like Nico was cheating on her, but cheating with her on his girlfriend. So Nico is terrible, but he's also very attractive. So I'm like, where do we go from here? That was an interesting thing. I think it was just very overwhelming, because it's like, okay, now she's cheating on tests, now she's sleeping with someone, now she's doing all sorts of things, now she's late to work. But that was just like Kimberly's like first few months of college was such a roller coaster, right? And so shame. I think it's weird, because I think Kimberly has more like chemistry. No, Kimberly had a lot of chemistry with Nico. You could feel it off when they were just learning French classes, or when they went for coffee, or when, like, you could see the chemistry there. But I can see Kimberly with Kanan. But then what about Whitney? I don't know. So I'm very conflicted over there, but I thought they were really cute. Kimberly and Nico were cute while it lasted. Like for the 3 episodes that we had, I didn't even want to say 3, I feel like it was like 2. For the 2 solid episodes that we had, the tension was there, the tension built up. But for the solid episodes that we had, they gave us something to work with, you know. And so no, I really liked them. Like, I really liked them together. But coming up now towards the end of season 1, with Kimberly and her whole speech about her, like, so she got caught cheating because she cheated on a test because she was focused on Nico. So with the whole thing with that, right, it's so weird because she had this whole speech about how, like, she came from this poor background, and like college has just been so overwhelming, blah blah blah, so she cheated but she didn't mean to, blah blah blah. And then they're like, yeah, but you know what we're gonna do, we're gonna keep you in the university, but we're gonna take away your scholarship. And I'm like, didn't she just have this whole speech about how it's too much because she's working 5 times a week, like, and now you're gonna take away her scholarship? So I just thought that was just so nasty on the professors for doing that, because it's like, this is the girl who's going through it academically because of the pressures of trying to sustain herself, and now you want to take her scholarship away. So what's gonna happen now? So it ended off on such a note, because it's like Kimberly has literally been going through it since the beginning. Her life has been a mess. But it's funny because it's like, that's what happens in college. Like, things are not under control. And I also weird repetition, but I also like the fact that Kimberly was caught, because I think in all of these shows, the show is so realistic, because like in all of these shows about like high school and stuff, they're supposed to feel like it's realistic, right? But these kids be getting away with everything and beyond. And obviously, yes, it's like fiction, blah blah blah, and it's like theatrical and stuff, but I love how the show felt very like down to earth, where it's like, yes babes, you cheat on a test, you're gonna get caught, you will face the consequences. Maybe the consequences were a bit drastic, but like, girl, you will face them. And so I like the fact that, like, even though it was peak, like, she still got caught, she still had to face that. Kimberly Finkel, I just love her. Okay, so our next character is Bela, and Bela is my favorite character just because of the humor and the funny things that she says, like the most outrageous things that she says, but she's also really funny. How do I describe Bela? Bela has Indian parents, and so her parents wanted to come into university, very focused, blah blah blah, but all Bela wants to do is comedy. Like, she picked the university to go to specifically for comedy, like specifically so that she could join this group. I have an email. So that you could join this group called the Kaling, which is the like comedy group that her university runs. And a lot of famous writers, like a lot of famous comedians and a lot of famous like comedic writers went to that university and joined that specific group. So she's like, I'm going to go to Essex for this specifically. Her parents are thinking she's doing pre-med or pre-whatever. She just joined these classes. Like, there's one line when she was like, I don't know which classes I've joined, I just signed up to the ones that said intro. So she's probably not serious about it, but she got in. And we see a lot of Bela. The interesting thing about Bela's character is that, like, her trying to find her way in like the comedy world is not easy, and we know this, right? But like, you can actually see like the measures that she has to go to even get heard, or to even like for someone to even take a chance on her. I'm not gonna say what she does exactly because PG rated, but like, and also you guys just need to watch it. But if you watch it, you know what I'm talking about. What she has to do to get into the Kaling. And first I was like, damn bro, that's insane. But then it was like, and then all of the people were upset with her for doing what she did, right? But now she's in, and it's like, it's peak that she had to go through those lengths, because if she was just a white male, like, he would have got in just having his jokes, but she had to go the extra mile just so that she could be considered, right? And so I love that a lot of it, like, Bella is like a try, is it a try harder? She's like, she does what she needs to do to get where she needs to go, and like she's super ambitious, and we can see that through like her not taking no for an answer, whether it's a place that somebody has to invite her to, or she'll be there. Like if she doesn't get the invite, she'll make sure she's there. It's one of those things where I can see that she's just like, she just goes for it. She's like, I'm gonna make this done. And we can see that in a lot of this season, whether it was her being placed in the Catalan, or whether it was her making not so wise decisions. Bella's arc this season was also very interesting to me, and I will say trigger warning for sexual assault and sexual harassment, I should say, harassment and assault, right, with Bela and with what's his name? Is his name Adam? I can't remember what his name is, right? And so when that happens, and also him showing her stuff, and then that's all I'm gonna say, right? Because if you've watched it, you know. If you haven't watched it, watch it, and then you'll know what I'm talking about. But like, I think it was, I'm glad that they almost showed that, to show that like sexual harassment and assault doesn't need to be this like big, there's different forms of harassment and assault that like I feel like sometimes teenagers and college students don't even know that like that's not okay, like that should not have happened. People can't show you stuff and all of these things. Now that I'm hearing myself speak, I'm speaking very cryptically because I don't want to say blatantly what happened, but like I think that was such an important arc to take in the show, because it was like, dang, this happened. And she almost didn't want to believe it, and she almost didn't want to be like, no, that didn't happen, like that didn't happen. And then obviously she spoke to someone else who was in the Catalan group with her, and it happened to them too, and now she's starting to think about it more, and it's like, am I going to speak out, but then people in the Catalan could be mad at me, or am I just going to be quiet about it and silence someone else and not feel like someone else's pain was like, how do I say it, someone else's pain was like I cared about that and I didn't want to silence them. And I think it was so interesting because it's like, that's a difficult decision that you have to make, and you're 18, just turning 19, and you have to decide like, am I going to keep quiet because it's going to benefit me, but it's going to benefit me, but also it's because it's like I'm ashamed and I don't want to speak out, and it's like it's a weird thing, right? Or am I going to speak out and take that step to be like, you know what, heck, like this is something that is important and I'm going to speak about it. And so that decision that Bela had to make was such a big one. When you think about it, it's like you're 18, 19, like I shouldn't be making these decisions, but there she is making them, and the way she makes them and then how they react to it is so insane. And you can see it's current, like it's written now about like how like, yes, believe women, da da da. And then we have Eric. We have a few things. So with Bella's love interest, there was somebody who she kind of liked because he was just hot, right? And so she was with him. Then it's like on and off we see in that, right? But what I focused on, and the real people understood this from the jump, was Bela and Eric. And I can see that as like my OTP, like they're there, that's my ship. I love a good grumpy sunshine, Eric just being like, oh Bela, what are you doing here, da, da, da. And Bela like being all cheerful and bubbly and stuff. So I can definitely see that happening. Whether it happens in season 2 or season 3, I was speaking to people on Twitter about this, and they were saying they want Bela and Eric, like they want Bela to have another love interest, and then Eric starts to you see, this is why we read too many romance novels. But they were like, no, Bela needs to have another love interest, and then Eric needs to get jealous and then be like, oh, I think I like you, Bela. Anyways, that's just like my OTP, and they're so important to me. And I think we were upset with how Eric reacted when Bela told them about what had happened to her, but then he came around and then he was like, I wrote this down so I don't want to get this wrong. And I was like, oh, we love you, Eric, blah blah blah. Anyways, the actor who plays Eric, he's actually a comedian in real life. His name is Mickey Leeper, and it's weird because like a few months ago, or even a year ago, my brother showed me one of his sets on YouTube, and I'm like, this guy's really funny. But the thing is, he looks so different now. And so when I googled him, because I Google actors in TV shows, I don't know if you guys, so when I googled him and I saw it, and I was like, wait, I know this person. So I love the fact that like down to the casting, I love the fact that they picked comedians to act as comedians. I don't know, it's just really cool. Like, you can do both, you know. I don't know, I thought that was really cool. Okay, so the next character that I wanted to focus on is Whitney. Whitney, my sister, my girl, oh my word. There's so much to say about Whitney, and it's very interesting. But like, when we first meet her, she's this super like athletic girl, and she plays soccer, which is like what we call football, but she plays soccer, and she's on the women's soccer team. But she's also in a relationship with a coach, which is like very weird. But also I want to say that like, I appreciate the fact that this show is in college, right? Because there's certain things that you can do in college that if you translate it onto a show where you do it in high school, it's immediately very weird. So like, this is weird, but like, it's not illegal weird. I don't know, there's just, I don't know, because it was giving Aria Ezra, but that was when the student is 15. Do you see what I mean? It's just very different. But obviously this is bad because it's not even like an age thing, but it's also a balance of power, and like, it's just terrible all around, right? But like, that's how we first introduced to Whitney. So it's very like, Whitney, how did this happen? Like, I don't understand. You have to explain this to us. Walk us through this, Whitney, because I don't understand. We still never understood. We still never got like the origins of the relationship. We're just introduced to Whitney, and she's dating the coach, and we're like, no hi, hello, goodbye, nothing. You're dating the coach. Like, that's how we meet you. So that's how we know Whitney, and we know that Whitney, her mom is a senator, and it's so funny because her mom is one, actually I think her mom's my favorite character, just because of how like witty the mom is. Like, the mom's witty, but when the mom needs to make her stuff known, she'll do what she needs to do, right? So Whitney plays soccer, and then we know that the thing with the coach lost over a couple of episodes, but they finally call it quits. I say call it quits, but like, the coach says it's that tale of like, I'm gonna leave my wife and be with you, but the coach never leaves his wife. But then the wife finds out, and then the coach gets fired, and then she finds out that he did it before at another college that he taught at. Like, this is a pattern for him, and she's heartbroken, and she breaks his car window. So a normal tale. So I'm like, yeah, just random like stuff that happens. Does it happen to you guys all the time? Yeah, no, yeah, I know, no, it's so ridiculous. So that happened, and it spans over the course of like, I want to say half the season. But even though the relationship ends before, like, even though relationship, I say it spans over the course of like more than half the season, but even though the relationship ends, it's like the aftermath of it. So like, parents finding out, the college finding out, the coach is getting fired, and all of that stuff, like all of the things happen, right? But at the end of it, it's nice that like Whitney and her teammates, like, they have this bond that they didn't have before when the show started. And then we have Whitney and Kanan, which at the beginning was really cute, but now I can see that I think Kanan likes Kimberly. So like, the chemistry between Whitney and Kanan isn't there compared to the one between Kimberly and Kanan. It's just not. So I think that like, that's gonna be interesting to navigate, because you can tell that she likes him, but he isn't fully there. But what I do appreciate about Whitney's character, and I think what I appreciate about the show in general, usually if there's like a black girl that's on the show, I'm gonna root for them regardless, right? Root for them regardless. And I love the fact that like, I could root for her as a character as well, because like, I just appreciated the character. And it's like, usually my favorite person in the show is always gonna be the black person, regardless, because usually everyone else is written so weirdly, and I have to fight for the black girl. But like, her character, the way it was written, I'm there, like I was there, you know. And so I really appreciated that. I liked the dynamic with the mom, and how her mom was this woman that was like so busy, but then in the end, when her mom needed her, she could be there for her daughter, and they could have those conversations and stuff. And obviously it's not where it needs to be, but like, I like that we got to see that revolve, and we got to see the bond between the mom and between Whitney, the senator, and Whitney. I think that was really important. And also I'm really interested to see who Whitney's dad is going to be casted at, and how he's gonna, if he ever comes into the show, maybe season 2, maybe season 3, like how they're going to introduce Whitney's dad, because we know that he's like a musician, but also that he never really took time, because like his music career, you can tell that the dad was in the shadows of the mom. So like now he's trying to do everything, but now he's not going to be there for his daughter, which is very weird, but that's how it seems. And so I'm curious to see who's cast as Whitney's dad. I'm thinking David Diggs. but David Diggs is biracial, but you know, the mom's dark skin, so it could work. I don't know. I'm thinking of more like a hipster type of father, because it's like he plays the bass. Like I don't know, like, and I feel like the ex-husband is gonna be so different to the senator. Like, does that make sense? Yeah, we love our sister. We love that she speaks sense. And also one of my favorite quotes from the show was like, nevertheless I persisted. That's like one of my favorite lines, and that's Whitney's line. But we have so many great moments with Whitney, and I really like with Whitney and her bestie, I can't remember her name now, oh my word, I really can't, and I'm upset, but I really like that bond between them that they've had. The one that's her soccer coach friend, her soccer friend. Oh, I'm mad that I didn't remember, but I really like that. And again, I like that Whitney's blackness and who she was as a person, that didn't like shrink or go down, and that she had her group of friends, because I think that's so realistic to uni and to college, is having your group of friends that like, these are my people, like. And I love that, because I feel like that's so realistic to how it is being a black person at a predominantly white school. Like that's how it feels like, and so I like that. And yeah, I love her mom being a badass. Yeah, Whitney's my girl. I feel like the lighting changed, but anyway, my last but not least, my character, oh my word, Leighton. Oh my goodness, we meet Leighton and we like, Leighton, do we like you? Like, I don't know if we like you, but Leighton redeems herself so much in the show. We start off by knowing that Leighton comes from like a well-off family. She has a brother Nico who's very hot, but yeah, she comes from this well-off family. We first meet her in the sense where, what am I saying, we meet her and there's like a confusion with her room, because she's like, I don't want to be with these people, and it's like, Whitney, do you think they're too good for you, blah blah blah. And then we find out that Whitney's friends didn't want to room with her, and they specified that they didn't want to actually stay with her, and they were like, no. And then their reasoning behind it, they were like, she's just like super secretive and we don't really know what it's about, blah 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 blah. Flash forward to the end of episode 1, we find out that Leighton is closeted. She's a lesbian and she's closeted, right? And so there's gonna be that whole arc about like how, because her brother's trying to set her up with his friends, and she's like, yeah, no. And you can tell that her friends from back home thought that she was like very secretive about her relationships and stuff like that, and they felt like they didn't really get to know her. So she was like, what, you guys are my friends? But to them they're like, yeah, but we never really knew you, you were always like hiding, da da da, right? And so I think Leighton's character, again, she's super snarky. She's that like rude person that has a very soft heart, and so you end up really liking them. And there's so many sweet moments where you can see her being a good person and a good friend and showing up. But Leighton, like, her exterior was like the hardest one to like break out of all of them. Like, I feel like we got to know them all, but like Leighton, it took the longest, because she just has like such a like protective and like all of that. And also about her being queer, about her being lesbian, this idea that like she didn't want that to define who she was. She wanted to be the cool popular kid and not have that like label like attached to her. And like, I think to her, she made points in terms of like, when someone's gay, suddenly like how people perceive them, it changes. How people like think of you, it changes. There was one of the things that she said, she was like, yes, like if you're a gay person, like when you type up the name, gay is the first thing that you see, because like that's what you see with them. And like she's talking about how she didn't want to suddenly have to become like an activist, or suddenly have to like change the way she is. Like, she's a very like showy, like girly type girl, and she didn't want to have to change that because of who she loved, right? And so she was making all these points. This was her when she was in a relationship with Alicia, who we love Midori Francis. I love her so much. She's from Nationality. But like Leighton and her relationship with Midori is very interesting because obviously Leighton, she's closeted, but Midori isn't, and so they'd always have to meet up in someone's room or something like this, and always this weird sneaky thing. And Midori didn't want that, and so she had to make that known, and she's like, yeah, no, this is not gonna work for me. That's not gonna happen. And so by the end of the season they break up, and obviously Leighton is like I keep changing the way I pronounce her name every time, but obviously at the end of the season Leighton is like so devastated and upset about this because like she really liked her, she thought she was like in love with her, you know. And so that's how we ended off with her, and it's heartbreaking, and it's like super upsetting. But also the only person that Leighton has told, she hasn't even told the whole group as a whole, the only person she's told was Kimberly, because Kimberly was like trying to comfort her because she was sad, you know. And I'm interested to see what happens. I don't even know if she is bi, because she did sleep with that other guy, but like, so who knows. So maybe she is, but yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen in season 2 with her, but I think she's gonna end up having to, she's gonna end up telling her friends. Whether she tells her family, that's something else, because in the episode, which was my favorite episode, the episode where the family comes for like dinner, you could see that the rift between Leighton and her mom, like that relationship isn't there fully. Like you could see her mom was also that it girl from high school and stuff that's trying to like uphold that, you know, even in your relationships. Like, you're a big 40, why are you still doing that? You could see, oh guys, this piece of hair is irritating me. Anyway, you could see that her mom is that type of person. So I don't know if Leighton is going to come out to her family. Like, I feel like that will be a really big thing, but I'm glad that she has the support system of her friends. Even the ones that don't know, they're still there, they're still looking out for her, they're still checking out for her. And yeah, I think we've seen such growth with her, specifically in just the kindness that she shows towards her friends and opening herself up. You could see that took a lot. And yeah, in the short space of time it took a lot, because like if you compare it to her friends that she knew from back home, like her friends from high school and stuff, they didn't even know things about her that these girls did over the course of like their semester, you know, or at semester. Like, yeah, the show takes place, I was gonna say the 10 episodes takes place in like a month. No, I want to say in a few months, to be fair, but like in like the semester, like the relationship, like the growth and stuff is immaculate. But I was gonna break it down to love interest, but I just realized that I spoke about each of the love interests within, like, as I went through each of the girls. But what the one that I'm most excited for is Bela and Eric, just because I'm interested to see where that goes. And but the thing is, I also love a good slow burn, so maybe don't rush it. Like, maybe let's see what happens, you know, let's see what happens. But I'm also interested to see what's gonna happen between Kimberly, Kanan, and Whitney, because I can see like a three, like I can see the dynamic between like that happening, where one person gets jealous, because there has to be a rift between the roommates over a boy. That's like has to happen, right? So I'm interested to see if the writers play with that, because I think that there could be a lot of potential there. But obviously we don't want the girls to fight. Something needs to happen, but yeah, it would be a bit weird. But I think that dynamic needs to be addressed, because when Kanan and Whitney were in the room, Kanan kept pointing out things about Whitney. Like, no, when Kanan and Whitney were in the room, Kanan kept pointing things about Kimberly. Like, oh, that's Kimberly's stuffed toy, that's Kimberly's this, that's Kimberly's that. And it's like, yeah, you like her, like you actually do. So I'm interested to see what happens with there. I think with Nico, people were shipping Nico and Bela, and I'm like, you know what, maybe, but I don't know, with the way that it went with Nico and Kimberly, and you could see how like he was like the group of, you could see how Kimberly was so affected by that, and how the group of friends were rallied behind her. I don't think the Nico and Bela thing will happen. Like, I just can't see it. Like, I know people really wanted it to happen, but I can't see it happening at all. I just can't. The thing I loved about like the college experience that we had with this show is that, like, obviously this is my first year of university college, so it feels like it's like extra. Like, I've been waiting for shows where they show people at college. Like, Grownish tried to do it, but their writing fell flat, right? And the other shows we just don't have, like, especially in this now in age, we have a whole bunch of things in high school where things don't really make sense happening, whereas in college, you know, people are going to parties, people are having sex, people are cheating on tests, people are doing all sorts of things. So in the context of college, it makes sense because you know this is realistic, this is actually what's happening, and even though things happen, there's still consequences. Whereas in high school, because I remember somebody made this point about like the reason why they make things happen in high school and not college is that like in college you can just like drop out, or you can just like not face the consequences. But I think like that's a little bit untrue, because like with Kimberly, how like she got caught and like they could have expelled her, or like certain things happen and you can actually get into trouble. Like there's still so much scope, there's still so much you can maneuver around when someone's in college, because it's also like you could do your homework but you also could not, and like you'll have to face that in a month's time, but now you can go out to the party. So there's still so much like you can work with being in college. And I love how all the girls are all together and it's like, oh, do you guys want to go to something, let's go. Then they all go, then they bring other people with. So I thought the college experience was portrayed so well. And obviously, again, me being in college, just started college, like it feels like it's so realistic, and I'm like, no, this makes sense. The show feels so current, so fresh. And something that I also wanted to speak about was the representation. And I know representation is such like a word, like, oh, representation, but I feel like when it's done, like representation is nothing if the writing isn't good. Like if the writing is bad, you might as well not given it to us. But with this show, I can actually see it. So we have characters like Jocelyn, we have characters like Lila, we have characters like Whitney's characters, Whitney's best friend, we have Francis, we have, I'm saying Francis, Alicia, I'm saying Medora Francis, but like Alicia, we have so many different identities and everything, because this is college. Like there's so many different people, but the writing is there. Jocelyn isn't just her friend there that's in a wheelchair. Jocelyn is cracking jokes. She's that girl that's always in people's business. She's always like there when you see her. She's always her funny quirky remarks, but like she's a fully fleshed dimensional character that we see a lot of. It's not just that person. Like Jocelyn, there's been special moments where she said these one-liners and you're like, bruv, that's funny. Like there's so many different, let me breathe, let me think of what I want to say. As I was saying, representation is nothing if you don't give us meat, and you don't give us grit, and you don't actually write good characters. And so I think with this show, they really focused on writing good characters, and I think that's what puts the show apart from the Euphorias or from the Gossip Girls, because these ones, like, you can, I don't know, it's just different. And I just felt it from the first episode. I was like, yeah, I'm hooked, like I'm here, I'm here. And then what, and I spoke about like the good writing, like I'm sorry, the good writing, it's super consistent, super relatable, super fresh, and it's not like one of those shows where it's like cringe, where they mention like the upcurrent things. It's not. So there's one line I remember, Bela's like, oh, this is some red table talk tea, like this is some like, and it's just random things like that aren't even corny, but it's current. And it's like, no, it works because it's coming from like a sincere place. I don't know, it just is fresh. I've been talking a lot, but I do want to say what I'm looking forward to season 2. I don't know what's going to happen with Kimberly. Like, what is my sister gonna do? Expelled? Like, I don't know what she's gonna think of. Like, I don't know what. Are they gonna put up like a fundraiser? Some of the friends are rich, but not that rich enough to pay for her stuff. So maybe are they gonna do a fundraiser with the senator? Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. Can she get her scholarship back? I do not know. In terms of Whitney, we're gonna see what's gonna happen with Kanan, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. But if nothing like that happens, I'm interested to see what her pathway is. And I like that we focused on her going to doing sports and in college, because I feel like with some shows they're like, oh, they do the certain thing, but here we got to see Whitney at a game, we got to see her at different things. Like, we really get to see her being a college athlete, which I really like. What else am I looking forward to season 2? I know somebody tweeted about, they're like, HBO has money, so hopefully we get to see them do like a semester abroad, which I think would be really cool. But that's probably like season 3 or something, right? What else am I looking forward to? They gave me so much, I didn't even have time to think about this. I just really enjoyed the show. So obviously Bela with the Catalan, so she left the Catalan and now she's gonna join her own thing with 2 other girls, and I can't remember their names. I'm so bad with names, but I'm interested to see what happens with that. interested to see what happens with her and Eric. Nico is just this little now Nico pisses us off, but what's gonna happen with him, because he's always gonna be there. And also with Leighton, whether she's gonna come out to her friends, to her family. Oh my word, there's so much that can happen within this show. And you forget that it's a comedy show, that it's like 20 something minutes, because like it's packed with so much. Like there's no filler episode every time they're giving something. So I want to tell you guys some of my favorite lines. You guys must follow me on Twitter. It's a fun place. But I do a thread of whenever I'm watching a show. This like I do a thread of like whoop. I do a thread of when I'm watching the show. But there were some moments and that I specified and like I made note of. So some like funny random things that happened over the course of the show that I thought were really funny. So when Whitney's mom, she's talking to all of the girls and she's like, if you could not tweet for the next 4 years, that would be great. I just thought that was funny, because it's like things that you say in college and stuff, online and stuff, when you're in your future careers, they come back to bite you. I just thought that. And then something else that I thought was funny, oh yeah, Kimberly, when she's like, you're my first black friend, or is that African American? I'm like, Kimberly, come on now. But that's just her. She just really shouted, you know. Oh, you should not have custody over your phone. I think that was Lee. And then this was before like the dinner, the family dinner. Someone was like, before our parents come, can we mention any lies that we'd like to corroborate? I know actually that was Bela, because Bela told all her friends, Bela told her family that she was doing like these neuroscience courses and all of that stuff when she wasn't. Oh, so then one of the friends, who is like this gay white boy, I can't remember his name, right? But then he was telling them to watch him in acapella, and then he was like, you will go to the acapella show because you wouldn't want your intersectionality to be questioned, would you? And I just thought that's funny. Like, who thinks of stuff like that? And then again with Leighton, she was like, my BIPOC roommate is in crisis because she wanted to get out of something, and she was like, no, my like, I'm sorry, to me that's funny. What? Oh, and Lila was like, hot guys don't journal, these thoughts just fade away, that's what makes them hot. Yeah, that's about it. But oh my word, guys, I don't know how long this video is or how long it's going to be, but thank you guys so much for watching. Tell me your thoughts, feelings, share things that you think about, who you ship, what you want to see in season 2. Don't be afraid to write them all down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and yeah, I will see you guys in my next one. Bye bye.